What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Today I'm going to show you every detail on the installation of color paint protection film over top of an unpainted surface just like this. This is primered. I believe it was done by the customer to smooth out the finish because the clear coat was peeling from what I remember. There is an edge between the top section and the bottom section here. I can feel it. So this is going to show through the wrap. Could the customer have feathered that out a bit? Yes, kind of beyond that point right now. I don't have time to do it, and nor do I do that in my shop anymore. I used to do that stuff a long time ago. Either way, it's not going to look too bad because the line does seem pretty straight all the way through, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I'm going to take a sample piece and put it over top to show you what it looks like before we even do it. I'm going to explain all the tools you're going to need for this. And again, if you haven't liked, don't forget to like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps boost it up and helps keep things going for you guys and also customers who are looking for a wrap. Gives them information like this to know and understand what it's like to wrap over top of surfaces like this. I'm using Vvivid Colorfusion Gloss Cosmic Purple. Super deep, super rich color. Car looks, it's almost done. Car looks infinitely better than it did. Again, there's only so much I can do based off of the finish that it was given from the beginning, which is, a 12-year-old car driven daily through the winter and so forth. Let's just wipe this off. There's a couple things that I haven't done yet, so I haven't wiped this off fully. I have prepped most of this. I've gone around the edges and so forth, but I haven't wiped this off fully. One thing I left to do is to mask off the emblem right here. So let's just mask off the emblem first, and then we'll get into wiping off the surface and showing you what that sample piece looks like. Why am I masking this off? Because I'm going to be cutting the material away from the area so I can work the material into the gap and most likely be cutting on the surface. And what the paint or what the tape is going to do is it's going to help protect that surface of the rear emblem or whatever you put it over top of, as long as you don't push too hard. Okay, so that's about all you need. You can put more than that. Just don't press too hard, that's all. You can't put more than that if you're concerned about this. Tools you're gonna need, I have slip solution, baby shampoo, and distilled water. Filtered water works too. And I have tack solution here with the green, whatever, mint label on the top. That's a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, very small percent, like 3%, and mixed in with the rest of it being distilled or filtered water. Squeegees, you're gonna wanna get yourself a PPF squeegee. I'm using this one today. I switch it up all the time. This one's the Sign Maker Tools, Yellow Tools one. It's called the Sandwich. I have another one from them, the Ape Squeegee. Again, total preference on what you like using. Doesn't really matter. These are like silicone-based squeegees, so they do not really scratch the surface very much. It doesn't really matter because the surface is already self-healing with PPF. So a little bit of hot water, steam, heat, so forth, will just get rid of all the swirl marks anyway. So it doesn't matter too much, but again, you don't want to have to go over the whole car afterwards to squeeze or to heat out all the swirl marks that are there. And if you guys haven't seen the pre-walk around video of this, do so, because it's important to see what the surface was like before of the rest of the car before I wrapped over top of this. And stay tuned for a couple of other videos with this one in the series, because I'm going to show you how to tint the taillights, because we're doing a light smoke on that. The Mercedes was, well, that'll come after this, I guess, or whatever before. Anyways, the Mercedes was a dark smoke if you saw it on Instagram. And I'm going to be showing you how to clear PPF the headlights, okay? So dark smoke, light smoke tint on the back, clear PPF on the headlights, and then we're going to be doing a full walk around video of this. Oh yeah, it's getting ceramic coated after this as well. So full ceramic coating, but I'm going to show you a full walk around video of how this car turned out afterwards, because it's an incredible difference for a 12-year-old car compared to how it came in here to begin with. Again, there's flaws all over the place, but again, you can only do so much. Anyways, let's get into this. So I've masked off the glass right here. I've also masked off the wiper blade because the wiper blade can sometimes drop debris out of it. So I just masked it off. Don't need to remove it. You could remove it if you really wanted to. Taillights are out. I took them out because it's super easy to take them out on this car. And then let's just wipe off the surface. So I've got my isopropyl alcohol here. Just gonna spray the cloth. I've already gone in and around the emblem here and all the cracks and the crevices. But let's just see what the edge or what this looks like when we put a piece or a sample piece over top. And then one more thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be elevating the hatch slightly, because right now the bumper's in my way because the hatch sits recessed. It's kind of annoying. So I'm going to pop the hatch open, have it stick out from the rear bumper, and this way I don't have to worry about it kind of getting in the way. So let's take this piece right here. I'm just gonna do a dry installation on this. Doesn't matter right now because I'm gonna be taking it off, but I wanna show you what that edge or what that line looks like. And I'll bring you in nice and close so you can see what it looks like. It's actually next to nothing. Okay, so you have to look hard for that. Okay, it's right on the body line, which is perfect. And you can't see that at all. So let's get the camera off the tripod for a second and show you what this looks like up close, because this is important to know. All right, now, if you could tell me that you could see an edge there, maybe you can. Maybe the 4K is better than my eyes, I don't know. But we're trying to go from the bottom here because you can kind of see it more from the bottom right there. Okay, just a little bit more from the bottom. From the top, you can't see it at all. But nobody's really crouched down looking at their hatch from this angle here. And when you open it up, it's going to open up all the way, and it's going to be out of sight, out of mind sort of thing. What you also might have noticed here, so I'm just waiting for this to dry. This is just unfinished yet. And once it dries, I will be rolling it around the edge and tucking that in because the roof went gloss black. And then we're going to be doing just a couple of small pieces here on the sides right here to overlap the gloss black to match the purple. So from the side, it's going to look really good. Anyways, let's get back into this. So now you can see what that looks like. And as far as texture goes in the primer, it's really nothing at all. I don't really notice much. Okay, how's my camera? Did I mess it up? No, it's pretty good. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is, I have my piece already cut, it's right here. Peel that off. I'm gonna elevate the hatch, but first I'm just going to blow off the surface with some compressed air. I will turn the volume down just in case I somehow forget. If you have a headset on, take it off for a second. All right, well, that was a lot of noise. I had to go turn the compressor off. That's okay. Okay, so we're ready to go. I'm not sure if you saw the debris that was sort of flying away out of there. I'm not sure how well the camera will pick that up. Let's open this up slightly, okay? And I'm gonna prop it on a box that I have right here. Let's get that right in there. And then you can see that that's going to keep it away from the rear bumper. And it also gives us actually a pretty nice angle to work with. So let's get the camera in a bit. It's about as high as it goes, I think. Maybe it goes a little bit higher. There we go. This kind of might be good for the camera crane, but that's all right. We can get a good view here. All right. The film itself has a protective cap sheet on it. So I'm gonna take that off, but I'll take that off when I bring it to the vehicle. And you can do this one of two ways, guys. You can wet the material on tables. I'm not sure if you noticed the foldable tables that I had in the background there, but I have a couple of black foldable tables, and I usually use those to pre-soak the PPF on the adhesive side. Okay, so this is extremely rigid right now. What we're going to do is remove the cap sheet. This has to be removed. And the material is going to relax quite a bit. This creates a lot of static, so again, keep that in mind. It's nice that this car is steel, pretty much the whole thing, other than the usual plastic pieces like the mirrors, handles, bumpers. Okay, that fits just exactly end to end. So let's make sure we're good top to bottom. We should be, I measured it. Okay, so we're gonna notice right here in the middle, a lot of it's gonna be bunching up. This is simply because the emblem is sticking out from the hatch, okay? So if I were to cut around that right now, it would sit better, but I'm not gonna cut around it just yet. We're gonna get the material tight and across first. Now, the next step is to open up one end, whatever end you decide on. Let's put a magnet there for now. And we're going to wet the surface. So here's my slip solution, and I'm going to spray in on the back side over here. And I'm gonna open up the other end and do the exact same thing. Okay, so we'll put that back down. And then open up this side over here. Do the exact same thing. And then we still have to remove the PET liner. Okay, so stick that down, cool. Let's begin to remove the PET liner now. So I'm right-handed, I prefer to go from this end. That depends on just how you feel about it. Doesn't really matter too much, it's just whatever you're comfortable with. When you're peeling off the sticker, or the film, peel it sticker side away from the cap sheet, so the liner, and begin to reel this off as nicely as you can. There we go. Okay, and as I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the adhesive side now. So I have that open. Let's wet the adhesive side. And I'm not going to wet right where my hand is because I can actually use that as a dry tack point on the exterior, which works out really well because it helps hold the material in place a bit better. See if I can get it tacked to the window or something here just to hold it in place. If not, if it's too wet, that's okay. I'll just throw a magnet down for now because I want to peel off the liner the rest of the way without the material moving. Okay, now from this side, I'm going to open it up and gently pull. Okay, and as I get to about there, I won't go the whole way yet. We're going to wet the adhesive side again. And I'm wetting the surface again, just for the sake of it. Having this wet apply comes out so much nicer, so I highly recommend it. And that's pretty good right there. All right, so the wiper blade is also in my way. Again, not a huge deal. So we're gonna take this, just anchor this, and we're gonna cut the wiper blade area out because this is sticking out and it's causing a problem. So we're gonna stay very close to it. It's causing a problem of having the material bunch right here. Call it a relief cut if you want, it's somewhat of a relief cut. And you're gonna see that the material will drop down much more freely in that area there. Okay, pro tip number one. Now I'll be able to pull the material more freely and tightly across. Again, this doesn't have to be pulled super tight, just what we're watching for is sort of here and down here to make sure that it comes out sort of looking like glass. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I have to pull the other side still. What we want to do is we want to slip the surface. Did I bring my slip over here or did I not? I did not. Okay, so let's just slip the surface now. This is going to allow our squeegee to glide across the surface. Do not squeegee the surface dry with a hard edge squeegee like that. It does glide a little bit, but you're going to stick. It's not that nice. Okay, so we're going to find a nice spot right here. Keep the material nice and tight. And we're going to fix up the bottom. So what's nice about this section here is that we can sort of divide up the top and the bottom area based off of the headlight here. So if you start bunching up, you can just do a relief cut and you can manipulate the material to kind of swing up and around. Put my squeegee down, let's take this. Nice firm pressure, okay? So the texture is there a bit more than the paint itself. I can see it now that I've pressed the material down a little harder with the wet apply. Let's pull to the other side, do the exact same thing. Again, will you even really be able to notice it? Probably not too much. Okay, we don't want to stretch past the very end. We just want to stretch to the very end. I'll put my hand over top and again, same thing, follow all the way through here. Okay, so we're nice and tight right across the top. We've got to fix this up. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, we're going to pull tight down to this corner over here and same thing over to that corner over there. And this is where I might need to start using a bit of tack solution to get it to anchor. Okay, so that looks pretty nice right there. We can probably run with that. So I'm going to take my tack solution now. I haven't pumped this up yet. Okay, we're going to fold that back and blast this whole area a few inches with tack solution. And what's important is to try and get this to tack while it's fizzy like that. That helps to get it to tack almost right away. So I want to get into the sort of same spot as I just was. Okay? I can always alleviate tension at the end afterwards, okay? Nice firm pressure. Those fingers will pull down. They always pull the opposite direction. We still have to pull to that corner. So I do have to, before I do this, I have to make sure that we are nicely anchored at this point right here. Okay, and what I can do is, if I have steel on the back, I'm not sure if there is, or if there's a plastic guard there. No, there's some steel there. I can take my magnet and hope that it holds a little bit. Okay, so we'll pull this side first, trying to create a very similar effect with the fingers. If you don't get any fingers, that's great. If you get some, we're just gonna pull the opposite direction. And then we'll finish off in the middle, okay? So let's pull, let's lift it here. Same thing. Okay. And we want to counter, and you can see that, right? See how it's coming out super nice? Okay, we're countering the other side, basically. Counteracting. In case that wasn't very clear. Okay, I have some fingers, that's okay. We're gonna pull those down. As long as this is done tight enough here. And again, I'm just gonna hold that for a moment because why let it go? If I let it go, it could just snap back. Again, I'll take my other magnet and see if I can get that to just help hold it there in place slightly. Okay, now in the middle here, let's move the camera over so I'm not in your way. This will give you a better position. We're gonna take this and just pull down a bit, okay? Not a lot. And you can see that we want this nice round shape coming around our emblem, okay? Everyone can see that. Let's angle the camera down just a bit from there because I'm not sure how it's showing the bottom. There we go. We're there, cool. Okay, so when I do that, now I'm gonna tack the bottom. So just tack here. Okay, pull the material down just snug enough. Okay. Start my squeegeeing from the top. That's okay, this can all get pushed in that way because there's a hole or a gap coming around the emblem. Let's go that way, out with the bubble. There's a pocket right here, you can see it. This keeps coming back, it's okay, it'll go down. Patience. So you can notice I moved on to other things when I did the top section there. Like I didn't just sit here and wait for the top section to dry, like that spoiler up there. I went and did the mirror on the driver's side, and now I'm doing this. By the time I finish that, this will be good to go. Sorry, that will be good to go. So by the time I finish this and that, I'll be able to roll that around the edge and everything will be good. Okay, so materials flattened out. This came up here, whatever, not a huge deal, okay? Let's fix that. All I have to do here is just to alleviate some tension. It's super easy to do that. I see I left some fluid in there, so let's get that out. Oh, it's just a dent. It looks like fluid. Okay, so we're gonna trim. Is that a dent too? It's hard to tell. There's so many little things, imperfections and stuff. That's definitely a dent. This is fluid, okay. The fluid is gonna drip from around the emblem just a bit. It's gonna kind of pool in the bottom there. Okay, so let's cut this out nice and rounded. This is more than enough to wrap in there. Like I'm gonna be trimming more away actually still. So come through like that. Let's do a nice little rounded cut so that the material doesn't run when we pull it. Cool, let's just take that scrap piece. I'll put it there for now. Okay, and then we're just gonna take that and put a little tack here. And I barely have to pull it. I don't have to pull it at all really. But it's just having a bit of trouble sort of sticking to the primer or adhering to the primer because the primer is not such a smooth surface. Or high energy surface is what I should be saying. Okay, so that's good to go. Again, we're gonna go over this, make sure we didn't leave any fluid behind. I can hear it. Sometimes it makes this sort of sound, okay? Hear that? So there's a little bubble right there. We're gonna work that out. Very easy to do that while the material's still wet. Hear those? Okay, and this edge is lifting slightly as well. So again, I'm gonna do a cut through here. On camera, yep. And just round that off. Okay, I have way too much material there, so I might as well trim more. There we go. Same thing on this side. I didn't bring my tack solution over, so we're going to tack it. So just elevate it, put a tack, throw that in there, and just somewhat snug, not too tight, and that's good to go. Okay, so again, I'm just going over everything to make sure that it's nice and tight before we start cutting this out. What we're going to do next is wipe the surface off so you can see if there's any bubbles behind. This is a good thing to do. I do it once in a while. I don't do it always, but I do check once in a while when I feel like I might have missed a bubble or some fluid. Okay, but I don't see anything other than a couple of small imperfections that are just in the paints. Again, there's actually no imperfections on the top. It's all on the bottom because that's the older paint. Now what we want to do is we want to trim around this. So we're going to trim very carefully because we don't want to cut too much away. Otherwise, we have to start over again. I'm going to snap a blade off. It's very, very important. So snap a blade off, fresh blade. And we're going to cut on the top side first. You're going to hear me sort of grazing the tape very gently. You're going to see that open up because there's tension pulling across. And so this is why I'm cutting more on the inside of the emblem, because when it starts to pull apart, if you cut too close to the edge, it's going to miss. It's going to expand further than the hole that we have. Let's stick that there, who cares? Okay. What we'll do next is get some tack solution in here, okay? You're going to see it's going to pool. Okay, it happens. All right, let's get some slip on there again because we want to squeegee it. And you can see all that fluid pooling in there. Now we sort of want to work this nice and evenly in and around. Will I be able to get this entirely perfect right off the bat? I don't know, we'll see. Because it might need to dry a bit more in order to get it done fully. And I'm gonna have to come back to this, like I'm gonna have to cut the scene because in order to show you everything, it's just gonna have to dry more than where it is now. Like all the edges, to do all the edges right now, like this is ready to go other than it not being dry. And this section here. So we're gonna trim a bit more away here. I can trim definitely more on the top side. Notice how I'm using my index finger from my other hand to feel where the edge is instead of just going off of what it looks like. Let's get the camera in there really tight. I'm gonna zoom in. There. Down a bit. Okay. So again, I'm feeling with my thumb, with my left hand right now. So I know where that edge is. I'm gonna come back around this way now. Now I'm using my middle finger with the knife on it, just behind it to feel the edge. I mean, it's not super stressful. It's not a huge piece, but you know, you just don't want to have to start again. It's annoying. Okay. Now, what you'll notice here is, and it's sort of annoying, is that there is these fingers here pulling outwards. That's because I stretched the material across this way. If I really want to, what I can do is I can pull the material up from here. So it's still, see how it's still dry enough? If I take this and I lift the material up this way, look at that, okay? It's gonna alleviate a lot of that, okay? So I'm gonna pull up just slightly. We're gonna get a little more fluid in behind here. And I'm just using full-blown tack at that point because I'm ready for it to tack, okay? So slip it one more time, and then I'm gonna pull up to counteract. Watch that, see that? There we go. And now we're not going to get that bunching up of those fingers there anymore. Way less of that. And as long as you do that within a reasonable time frame, like you don't wait forever for it to dry, then yes, you can still lift the material up. You're not going to create any adhesive lines or glue lines or anything like that. Okay, push up. I don't want to pull up too hard. I just want to relax the material, make sure it's nice and relaxed. Okay, what we have to do is we have to shoot. This is happening here just because we're still stuck on the emblem slightly right here. And again, because it's protruding, so it's not really wanting to come around it nicely. Let's see if we can cut a little bit closer and have that drop down just a little bit better. Again, not a huge deal. As soon as it dries more, it'll go down, but let's see now. So see how many times I cut there? Like, you want to take your time with stuff like this. Let me just get a bit more. Yeah, we're good. All right, so you want to take your time with stuff like this because you don't want to just do one cut deal and boom, you mess it up. Okay, so now let's see if we can just press and hold. Press and hold. So I'm not holding, I'm holding for like 5 seconds or so, maybe 10. Press and hold. This way when it dries, it's all to the edge. Okay, so I see fluid pooling in from the top here. That's okay, because we're going to tack the top still. We haven't tacked it yet. All the way through. You want to flush out as much of that baby shampoo and soap as possible. Sorry, I'll zoom back because I know you can't see that. So let's flush it out. Good. Let's get in here. Let's get in here and in here. Okay, and let's get into the other light area as well. I've pretty much tacked all the other edges, so. And that's again, flushing out a lot of that soapy water. Okay, let's slip it one more time. We're going to start in the middle, press, press, press. Start low enough because the water could pool down pretty far sometimes. I'm going to go all the way through because why not? Okay, same thing here. Oh, I can see, yep, material starting to stick there. And you see how well the tack works? Like, I have this material and it's tucking in already and it's still wet. See that? Like you just, when you do things properly, it works out really nicely. I'm just gonna use my left hand here. It's kind of awkward, but just to stay out of your way. Okay, so I don't really want to trim off any more right now, simply because who knows, I might have missed a bubble or some fluid in there. I might have to lift the material up, hopefully not, but more so at the edges is where you might miss fluid. It happens. So that's the most common area. Sometimes in the middle, but just be thorough with your middle. Like right here, I see a bubble. So I'm gonna bring that right in to there because that's the closest edge to work the fluid out. And let's have a look at the bottom because the bottom is usually the more likely area with the water running down. Seems to be good. So I'm not really worried about it. It's all good working around that. Okay. So again, this is why we wipe and then we have a good look at the surface to make sure we don't see any water bubbles. And there's another one right here. Could be a dent. No, it's bubble. Okay. Let's keep going. And just at the edge right here, especially because I just put tack under there and I didn't squeegee down this way. Okay, so that's good. Okay. Let's move over to the other side and have a look at a different angle. Again, that's just a dent in there, really shallow one. Another one there. Pooling water right here. Just right there. Cool. And then there's a bubble right here at the edge, but what I'll do is when this dries more, I'm going to take it, lift it up, and then dry install that top edge. So it wasn't totally necessary that I finished off and tucked in that top edge right now. It doesn't actually matter at all. Simply because, let's move the camera back, sorry. Simply because I'm going to wait for this to dry more, and then I'm going to tuck it in dry and then do my cutting and stuff like that. You do not want to do any cutting up here right now. Again, simply because you might have missed fluid at the top edge, so just wait. And then with having the excess material there, you'll be able to pull the material back and then get the bubble out and so forth and work the material back in. But as soon as you cut, you won't be able to do that. Also, with the material being wet, it's harder to cut it. So what you'll find is your blade doesn't want to cut it. It's going to jump, it's going to start skipping, and it's going to create like a really zigzag and jagged cut. Don't cut it when it's wet if you don't have to. Move on to something else. I do have the front bumper to remove, so I'm just going to go remove it. And that's the last piece to wrap, actually, other than the taillights. Once I get that off, I'm going to check that, and then I'll come back to this and see how this is. Probably be good. And then we'll finish this up. So see you in the next part of the video. Testing, 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 testing. Guys, I'm back. Now we're going to finish this up in testing, 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 testing. Testing, 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 testing. Guys, I'm back, and we're going to finish this hatch up in detail. So we're going to do all the edges, the cutting, the rolling around the emblem, rolling around the edges, all that stuff. In the meantime, while this was drying, just so you know, I did the two side pieces here. It's not completely done yet because I need the hatch to go down so I can roll it around. Removed the front bumper, disassembled it, wrapped it, reassembled it, and put it back on the car. And we did a video of doing clear PPF on the front headlights. Last video will be the tint on the taillights. Anyways, let's get into this. So I'm going to put my glove on because we're going to need it depending on where you want to start. Actually, let's just do around the emblem first, since this is the best spot that I feel like doing right now. Let's zoom in and get the camera down just a bit. There we go. Okay, so we're nice and close. Now, I'm going to trim some of this away. This is super tight now. This should be dry. It's been probably at least a few hours. And we want to make sure that everything is even before we cut. We want to make sure that the material is tucked in sort of, but not fully tucked in, and it's nice and even going around. This way when we cut, it's going to be nice and even. I'm not sure if I snapped the blade off. Let's snap one off anyways. Oh, my last one. This way it's nice and circular when it gets tucked in. I'm still slightly cutting on the tape on the top side because the top sticks out way more than the bottom does. And the tape, when I go to tuck the material in, is going to allow the material to release from the tape a lot more easily than it would if it was stuck to the chrome. I'm not in your way too much there. Do have to see. Here we go. So I'm coming along really steadily. And you can see how, when I'm cutting, how my middle finger is resting in the gap and the knife is resting on my middle finger. Okay, so let's see if we can get this going so I can see where I started. And I know where I ended over there. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get down here and so I can see a lot better. And we're gonna meet right there. Perfect. Okay, so the heat gun's plugged in. We're gonna need it, but don't really need it right now. And also, you might notice the tape's gone here because the tape was wet, or on the very top edge over here. The tape's gone because it was wet and it was just sort of coming off, and just removed it. So don't really need it. Okay, so we can get the material tucked in really nicely. You see that, how it's just coming off the tape super nice. Once I get the material tucked in or off the tape, I'm gonna add heat. So the reason why I didn't add heat first is because as soon as I add heat, the material will actually stick more to the tape, and I don't want that. I want it to go in really nicely. Okay, now we're gonna go with the buffer side first. This is gonna round off the edge a lot more nicely. And then we'll go over with the hard edge. Okay, so it's definitely a lot tighter at the top than it is at the sides. Same with the bottom. Looks like it's still a little wet down here, so I will have to, I can see a water droplet. So, and I can, there you go. You can see the water droplet there. So that means there's still fluid in there. It's fine. It's not a huge deal. I'm just gonna let it dry more and then I'll get in there and finish it off. The rest of it on the sides should be good. Okay, so that's gonna get tucked in there really nicely. And you can see what the result's gonna be like anyway. So that section is basically done. We can remove the tape if we want to. It does help to remove the tape when there is a bit of heat on it or when it's warm. Left a bit of glue there, but that's okay. I'll just use some isopropyl and clean that up afterwards. That's simple. Okay, let's get into the rest. Garbage cans right here, perfect. So let's do the top cut and then we can get in, that's fine. And then we can get into doing the rest. So which way am I gonna cut? We're gonna cut this way. So let's get down and in there. And I want you to get the best possible view. So something like that. Let's bring the camera down a bit. Okay. Okay, so this isn't fully tucked in yet, so I'm gonna tuck this in further. Now, this car is black. I wouldn't usually be so concerned about how far in I'm tucking with a black car, but because, I mean, I still want to tuck in far, but because there's the gray primer and it does go in quite a bit, I want to make sure that I'm covering all that gray primer. Okay, so again, I'm lifting off of the glass, and if the tape was still there, it would have helped a lot. It would make it a lot easier to tuck in, but it's okay. I'll just lift off the glass, tuck in, lift off the glass, tuck in, and so forth. Just keep doing that. Again, I want to make sure that I'm in there about as far as I can go. I don't want to go too far because like you might hit a rubber seal or something like that and then it's going to make things funny. Okay, so let's roll this out of the way. Now, I'm going to go grab a fresh blade because I'm going to need a longer one, just really quick. It's right here. And replace my blade with a fresh one because I want to make sure that there's no skipping or jumping. It's possible that I might skip or jump a little bit, but it's going to be so far tucked in there that shouldn't be seen. Again, this is just because PPF is really tough to cut when it's loose in any way at all. Okay, so let's start down here. And, oh, it feels good. There we go. There's a nice gap in there. Feels like I tucked it in really evenly all the way through because I don't feel like my blade's moving or anything like that. You can hear a little bit of squeaking there. That's just the PPF squeaking. It's like a rubber type of material, right? So it squeaks a little bit when you cut. Okay, so that was pretty simple and turned out nicely. What we need to do now is we need to go over that edge with heat and make sure that the material is seated under there really nicely. Doesn't take a lot of heat. We don't have to hit like post-heat temperatures with this. We're just trying to get it warm and make sure that edge is nice and tight and sealed up. Okay. Next, let's do the underside edge. I mean, that's kind of like the last area. We'll do the taillight and all this while you're here too. So let's come down a bit. Something like that. For now, we'll do the taillight area. And it's gonna be the same on the other side. So if you don't see it perfectly on the other side, because I don't move the camera, you'll be able to see it nicer on this side. Now, actually, before I even do that, I'm gonna trim a whole bunch of this off because I have way too much material and I only need to wrap it in at like a 1/2 inch at most. We'll go about a 1/4 inch. And then this will prevent me from having to cut on the paint in any way at all, even though it's an older car or whatever. So treat every car like it's a Ferrari, doesn't matter. Let's trim off a bunch of that excess. Yeah, whatever, get it afterwards. Okay. Now you want this edge to be straight and clean, but it's hidden away for the most part, so don't stress too much. Okay, let's switch spots with you for a second. Now the trick, how close are we to the corner? Yep, we got some good view here. The trick to doing corners is we're gonna cut circular, sort of like that, come around, and we're gonna come around this way a bit, and then just leave myself more material on this side again. There we go. Okay, so that's ready to go. We're gonna heat it, roll it around. Let's go for this corner right here first. Lots of heat on that, smush it in. That's not going anywhere. That was a pretty high temperature for that to hit right there. Okay, so the corners right here, let's heat it from the bottom side and then just massage that around. You see how that turns out? It turns out really nice. Okay, let's get the rest. Beautiful. Let's now get the camera, I don't know, up or down. Let's go down with it for now. I'll keep the trunk or the hatch in its spot. And we're gonna continue to roll the material around the bottom edge here. So where are we on camera here? So that's about as far as you can see right now. So I'm just gonna trim off a bunch of this excess. We have way too much. There's a bubble right there. So just pop that open, get rid of it. There's also another one right there. And I actually didn't go over this yet, so it's a good idea. Let's go over it. Looks good after that. Okay, let's get rid of a whole bunch of this material. It's just gonna get in our way. Let's move the camera slightly more so you can just see the rest of the cutting. It's not a huge deal, but just to see that I am cutting away a large amount of excess material. And then while I'm over here, I'm gonna do the same to the taillight area. Is I'm gonna trim it, leave myself about 1/4 of an inch to roll around. And again, just heat it and roll it around. This way I don't have to cut on the paint in any way at all. You know, it's not something that's uncommon to do to cut on the paint, but you know, why take the chance if you don't have to? Okay, cut that off. And then I'm gonna do the exact same thing at this corner over here. Keep it tight, make it circular. And then that will wrap around that corner really nicely. Cool. Okay. Let's do the heating. I think the whole thing's in there. It's really tough to see on the screen there. Yeah, it is, we're good. Okay, so let's do all this. So we always start on the top side edge, heat the material, heating it really close, but I'm moving quickly. My heat gun is set to the maximum temperature. Okay, we're gonna go back again and put my fingers around that edge a little further this time. And then this last time, we're gonna go perpendicular to the edge with our finger. You can feel how hot it is. It's going through the glove a little bit. It's okay. I'm gonna do the taillight area. Might as well finish this up. It's the exact same thing on this side as I did on the other side. So you're not missing anything. Okay, not quite done yet. Just got a little bit more to wrap around. There we go. Okay, now we got to cut. Okay, so it's got to cool just for a few seconds here. That side will be cooler than this side because I just finished over here, but it's pretty cool already, so it's okay. You just don't want to cut when the material's hot. Okay, so now let's get this angled up. Way, way, way up. Okay, I'll try and hold this down a little bit. So you're gonna see more when I'm cutting as I come through this center section here. Can't keep the camera in all places, but I'm gonna explain and show you how I'm cutting in a second here. Okay, so I'm pulling the material down at a 90-degree angle from the edge. You can wrap around more if you want to, but in this situation here, the point of my blade is not touching the paint in any way. So I'm not able to really, could do damage, but I'm not really as easily able to do damage. So I'm gonna stay out of your way while I do. Let's get zoomed in a bit more. You can see this a lot better. Again, if you're concerned, you can wrap more around the edge, but in my experience, you don't really need to unless you have tension. Okay, am I in your way? Sort of. It's tricky. Okay. Okay, let's see if can I go this side? Maybe. Here, we'll see in a second. I'll be in your way for a second there. Let's get out of your way now. There we go. Okay. So I'm pulling the material down and away, and this creates a super, super, super clean line going all the way around. Now, again, if you have tension there, you don't want to have an edge like that. You want to wrap more around. So, but this is a very flat panel, so I'm not really worried about tension there. I know there were no signs of tension there, so I should be fine. Now, last step, this is very important, feed that back, is to go over this with heat and shower it, okay? So we're gonna go over a little bit lighter at first and clean the edge up. That's just gonna get the edge back down because we did cut and sort of pull it away from the edge. And then once we get the edge back down, we can really get in there with a lot of heat. So I'm gonna go a little bit slower. You can see that my heat gun's point blank. So this heat gun's rated at 1,000 degrees, and at this distance, we are post-heating the material big time. It's basically glued to the car right now. It's not gonna, you can peel it off, but it's not just gonna peel off on its own. I just noticed that that's not quite pushed down. There we go. Okay, so that's a beautiful edge. If it was a color that had more contrast, like it was green or yellow or something that I was wrapping the car in, or the car was green or yellow, this would show more and it would show you how clean the line is. But that is pretty much it for that. So let me move the box. We're going to close the hatch and just kind of adjust the camera while I'm doing this so you can see. And there we go. Let's move the camera back into place. I've got to slap the taillights back in. I have one in there just because the quarter panel was done on this side before this side. But everything is done on the car right now other than the taillights, and then me just heating and rolling around the back edges here because the hatch was up. So I'm not even on camera. Oops. Okay, so yeah, the back edges up here for the side piece that I did there, and also the black, the piano black at the top, I haven't completely finished yet just because I moved on to other things while that was drying. So guys, stay tuned for the taillight tint video. It's a light smoke Vvivid Ultimate Tint. So I'm gonna show you how to do that on these lights, and check out the other videos, the clear PPF, the beginning of the walk around, and also the final video of what all of this looks like. Once the taillight's tinted, I gotta ceramic coat this thing. It's gonna take like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it's done. So it's gonna let it dry overnight, and the customer will pick it up, and it's all gonna be good to go. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching as always. I appreciate it. Take care.